It's another hit, Barry Bonds.
What's going on, Coach Joe?
Good to see you.
Can you hear me okay? Is everything good on your end?
Yeah, I'm going to make it a little bit louder.
Okay, there you go.
Perfect. Perfect. So I'm excited. Good
Oh, yeah.
Each other look at stuff.
Yeah.
Nice. Very nice.
Thank you so much for joining us at such short notice. For my viewers that's coming in now, I got Coach Joe Magno. He has 25 plus years of coaching experience in California. I've been following this guy for a couple years, just seeing how he takes his approach to hitting and his approach to baseball and creating phenoms out in California. So I had to get this guy on the show. Normally we go Friday, Thursday is the only day we can work it out. So I want to make sure that we make a special edition for this guy. So Coach Joe, you know, my audience is here in Chicago. I know the whole state of California knows you. So, but for the viewers and audience who don't know, can you give us a little background about yourself and how you got coaching?
Oh, my. Well, I've been in baseball my whole life. My dad was a big-time baseball coach. He coached in Florida at Eckerd College.
Okay.
So Division II program, but a really powerful Division II program. And he brought me in as a coach. But I've been around baseball originally from Brooklyn, New York. Did the whole route. Brooklyn.
Best side, stand up.
Oh, yeah, to Staten Island.
Yeah.
You know, all the way down to Florida. And then I wound up coaching with my dad. And then I just, you know, I started a baseball school down there. My dad was a great coach, you know, and I learned a lot just from watching him coach. And then, you know, I started just helping kids out, running camps down in Florida. And as I ran these camps, I just learned a lot of different things and about hitting, especially. And while I was down in Florida, I got to work with a league called Seminole Little League.
Okay.
These guys went to the Little League World Series. And in that league were guys like Casey Kochman, Bobby Wilson.
Okay.
This entire Little League had, my goodness, when they all went to Seminole High School, the entire team was drafted. And, oh, yeah, the entire team. And they were the #1 team in the nation. These are all kids that I worked with. And I started developing and trying to, you know, understand hitting and working with these boys. And then Bobby became a major leaguer. He was with the Angels years, and then he went with Tampa, and then he went with Chicago. And he was a heck of a hitter at one time, you know. And I know that, you know, when you're a catcher, you don't get to do all the work. You're doing your bullpens, you're doing your evaluations, you're studying batters. But Bobby was one of my first guys to make it into the major leagues. And there's a ton of other guys that I've coached that are playing in the major leagues and have gone on to play professional ball or college ball. And so anyway, this is all down in Florida. So it's real interesting. I'm not going to get political, but back in the time in 1992, when there were riots out here in California,
Okay.
I was literally, I had hurt my back. I had blown out a disc in my lower back, and I was paralyzed slightly. Okay, I couldn't feel my whole left leg. And I had this surgery, and I'm sitting there lying in a hospital bed for a long time, trying to recover. And I see all this stuff on TV, and I was like, you know, as soon as I can, I don't know if it was the drugs, but as soon as I could walk again, and I felt good again, I vowed that I was going to move to California and make a difference.
Okay.
And so then I came to California, and the amazing thing about when I moved out here was I'm trying to start a business, trying to start camps and trying to get into, you know, coaching. And it was tough because I didn't know anybody. I mean, I did go 1 year to high school here at Wilson High School in Long Beach, but then I moved back to New York. And so I knew a couple of people, but not enough to really help me do what I wanted to do.
Okay.
So I wound up meeting a police chief named Steve Finolio, and he introduced me to a guy named Van Kutrin. I can't remember his first name, but he was also a police chief. Okay. And they said, hey, we'll help you start your business, but you're going to have to help us out. So I'm like, okay.
Okay.
I'm like, what do I have to do? And they said, well, you know, you told us why you came out here. So we run the Police Athletic League,
Okay.
and we go into neighborhoods, minority neighborhoods, mostly black neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And what we do is we're trying to bring baseball back into the city. So I started going on all of these little clinics, and I was putting them on with the Police Athletic League, and I kind of took root from that. The deal was, what we'll do is, you know, you'll come out, you'll help us out, and what we'll do for you is we're going to pass out brochures. I had a whole police department mobilized to put out my flyers.
Wow.
Oh yeah, and they didn't.
Now, what area? Not to cut you off. What area of California was this in?
This was in Long Beach.
Long Beach.
But we spilled out into Compton,
Okay.
Carson, and we did all of these clinics because they were all affiliated to Police Athletic League. We did all these clinics all over Southern California, but in those minority neighborhoods. And so it's amazing how that got started, because there's no way. Plus, I didn't have any money. I came out broke. And the Police Athletic League, they were printing the flyers for me, probably against the rule or something, but they were printing all of these flyers and putting them out. And one thing led to another. And I established what was called the All-American Baseball Academy of California. And it became pretty big. You know, we had an indoor training center, 30,000 square foot. Didn't make it. It was before its time.
Uh-oh. Let me bring you back in, Coach Joe.
I lost you for a second.
Oh, there you go. You're back.
I'm back. Okay. So anyway, we had this indoor training center. Definitely before its time. I had a holographic pitching machine that threw anywhere from, you know, 100 miles an hour down to 50 miles an hour. And it was, I can't even remember what it was called, but it was a hologram. And this pitcher would throw it and the ball would do all these things. But I got the program. You'll love this story. There was a guy, Adam Kennedy, and a guy named Robert Fick. They both played Major League Baseball. And they would come into the training center and they'd hit. But I programmed this machine and I challenged them to go on the machine. Now I understood that this machine, the first pitch is a fastball at 100 miles an hour. Second pitch is a curveball, you know, 12-6. So I had this whole thing programmed, and there's a little number in the upper right-hand corner. So I could tell which program was going to be on. So I knew exactly what the sequence was going to be and what the pitch was going to be. So they're getting in there. They couldn't hit it worth a darn. And I'd get in there and it was a cracker because I knew exactly what it was. So I'm geared up. I'm ready. And I'm getting hits, and I'm old. You know, even back then I was old. And, you know, I'm 62 years old. Back then I was, you know, whatever, 42 or whatever. But it was hilarious because they'd sit there and say, how are you hitting that? You programmed it. And there's only 3 programs that you can put in. I'm like, you press a button, press a button. You know, you do it.
Right. And
they did it, but I could see then now there's another number over in the right-hand corner. Okay. And I know first pitch is a 12-6 curveball. It was just comical.
So you in Houston Astros, you started the Houston Astros debacle.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That it is such an advantage to know what's coming.
Absolutely.
Approximately the speed. And I was watching that game with my son. And when Altuve hit that home run, it was like, really? Because Chapman just threw a 103-mile-an-hour fastball. And then the next pitch is 82. And I'm like, wait a minute. He was sitting on that. Goodbye. And did you see Chapman's face? He looked like, what just happened?
And Coach, we can talk about that on you got to compliment Tia Rock. She said 62 definitely don't look like it. That's good. That's great, man. Baseball guys, we don't age. We're like, we don't age at all. So, Coach, I'm going to ask you, you know, because you talked about learning hitting at an early age in your coaching career. So, what is your hitting philosophy, and does it change due to kids' ages?
Okay, so a lot of the guys that work with me and girls that work with me, I'm talking about throwing the wedge. And,
Can you elaborate on throwing the wedge?
Yeah.
Because I know once we put this on YouTube,
throwing the wedge is taking this front elbow.
Okay.
At contact, I actually want this elbow slightly bent at contact.
Okay.
And then I have what's called I'll try to stand up a little. I have what's called a push through.
Okay.
So I have the wedge going here, and then we push through.
Okay.
And so I'll do a lot of different things to create that wedge. And I found that I can create power just by creating this bend in this front arm at a slight bend at contact with a good back elbow push through.
Okay.
I've had guys that have come in recently, over the past few years, and we've measured bat speed at when they came in, and their bat speed is at maybe 78, 75, and when they leave, they're up to 90, 95,
Okay.
7. So it's really kind of amazing what can happen when you understand this movement of the front arm. And if you notice, when I'm throwing this movement, I'm not taking this elbow and I'm not going down with it. I sat there and, I've seen videos with A-Rod. It's like, there's no way you are not doing this to create backspin to get that ball to go up. It's not happening. So what I do is I'll take little devices like this to try to teach them how to feel that movement.
Okay.
Okay. So this is the movement no matter what age, whether I'm training a 7 or 8-year-old or I'm training a 25-year-old minor league guy.
Okay.
I'm in here. Now, what I'll do with these, that's just the dodgeball. I have different sizes for different size guys. Okay. If it's a bigger guy and I want to create that space between my front elbow and my chest. So I'll use little devices like this. I don't need to have any fancy devices, that strap on. I don't like any of those things. To me, they're restrictive. They start understanding the pattern. If you look at some of the videos on my Instagram, you'll notice that a lot of guys, one of their first things that they do is they drop their hands. And as soon as they drop their hands, if you notice, what happens to the front arm? The front arm starts barring.
It goes out. Yep.
And then it starts pulling.
Yep. It's going to go out.
And I create a rollover swing. Not to mention, I'm losing my push through. My push through is disappearing. My push through is kind of dissipating and rolling over. So I want to make sure that my push through goes out to where I'm trying to hit the ball. So let's say an outside pitch. I get an outside pitch. I take my front elbow. My first movement, you'll hear me talk about it all the time. First movement, front elbow. They're connected. The front elbow and the back elbow are connected this way.
Nice.
But what I don't want to do is drop the back elbow and then move the front elbow. I want to keep them in sync.
In sync. Okay.
So if there's a pitch outside, I'm taking my front elbow and my front elbow is going to where I see that pitch. The thing that follows my front elbow is my knob. Okay. And my knob and my bat are at what we call bat lag. It goes straight back. And then what happens is I then release the barrel. So the barrel, you were asking, I know you had asked about what I think about launch angle.
Yeah.
Gravity takes control. And if a pitch is descending, then I need first of all, I need my hands and my bat and my barrel to get into the strike zone quickly.
Okay.
So that's not this way. That's this way. I am in the strike zone right now. My barrel's here. Okay. And now the next thing that's going to happen, depending on where the pitch is, will be the angle of attack to that ball. If the pitch is lower, I'm going to have more of an upward angle to that ball. If the pitch is low and inside, it's going to be even more drastic. Because if my bat's flat, what am I going to do? I'm going to roll over or foul ball.
Yep.
Okay. Locking the front arm. When you drop your hands, what happens is the front arm bars. And if that front arm bars, you're done on an inside pitch. Now you're going to see guys that say, well, look at this video. He had a home run on that. Yeah, he did. Some guys can. Some guys that are thick and juiced and whatever, big boys, they might be able to get away with extension at contact. But they're monsters. Most ball players need to have that wedge to the ball.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so it's wedge, knob, barrel. And then the barrel will do the work. The barrel does the work. Now, let's talk about that's the upper body. And I think that's the most critical part of the swing. And I put up on my IG today, like 4 drills. I use a thing called the lightning stick. Okay. This is one of the things I use. You hit the ball off the flat edge, and then I use another thing called the lightning bat. And you
so now, Coach, do you use baseballs or do you use the soft compression, like smaller, like ping pong balls?
Baseballs with the lightning bat.
Okay.
And the soft compression balls with this. This works on fast twitch. This works on slow twitch.
Okay.
And both work on swing path.
Okay.
So my swing path, my elbow leads the swing path, and I call it frisbee up to the ball. Now, if the pitch is high, tomahawk to the ball. Okay. We don't necessarily want to swing at a high pitch unless it's a hit and run, you know. And so, you know, the lightning stick creates fast twitch muscle fiber development. The flat bat just works on, you know, swing path and not rolling over. You'll feel yourself roll over with both of those devices. So that those are 2 key components of what I train with. And the interesting thing is I've been training with these things for years, and I really haven't changed a lot, and I've had a ton of success getting guys to the next level. Tons of college, I mean, thousands of kids sent off to college to play baseball and softball, and hundreds of kids gone off to play professional baseball, and quite a few of them have been blessed enough to make it into the pros. Just had a kid from our California Cage Rats team signed, Anthony Walter. He's a 3rd-round pick for the New York Mets.
Nice.
He played with our summer program last summer collegiate program, you know, and we have a fine summer collegiate program. We have great coaches that we bring on staff every summer, and then the kids. We got kids from this year. We have kids from USC, but we also have kids from NAIA programs and JUCO programs, you know. And when they come to practice, we are doing all of this stuff. We're doing open face hitting. And again, you can look at my IG there. I put a whole synopsis of one specific drill using the lightning stick, but those drills are adaptable to using a baseball bat, other equipment, etc. You know, open face hitting, angle out hitting, a thing called 90-90 hitting. And I explain it. I do explain it on the IG, so you could take a look at it, because honestly, it's hard for me to really show anything. Just, you know, kind of doing what we're doing right now.
Absolutely. No. And this is one of the reasons why, you know, I sat back and started the recess, because now this is the initial information. And now if I can provide a resource to anybody, you know, we're a band of brothers, as I call it. We're a small band of brothers. If we can provide information to make baseball players excel their game and to make baseball better, man, this is what it's all about. So I'm going to ask you this. So what are the hitting fundamentals one must know to be successful, right? So let's take, you know, I heard you talk about the wedge. I heard you talk about knob through and everything like that. So what are the keys? Like, if, you know, you have a 6-year-old who's just starting baseball, or you have a kid that's really excelling, what are the essential fundamentals of hitting that they must do to be successful? Okay.
It's interesting because I was very blessed about 15 years ago. You remember Tommy Davis?
Yes.
Tommy Davis, I don't know, he saw me do a clinic. He was actually a guest, or he had a grandkid in the league. And he said, I want you to come out on the road with me and do some hitting clinics. So, you know, and obviously he's Tommy Davis. I'm Joe Magno. So I kind of stayed back, but he actually let me do a lot of the talking, but not until I started listening to him. One of the most important things, no matter whether you're 7 or you're 25, is balance. If I don't have balance, I am going to have timing issues. I'm going to lose. You know, timing is everything. So I can have all of these wedges and all of this stuff, but if I don't have balance, I'm not going to be able to perform at a high level, because I'm going to swing at balls that are bouncing. I'm going to be late on things because my front foot isn't getting down in time. Hitters need to make sure they have a good base. And there's a lot of guys that can do the Justin Turner leg lift. And the cool thing about Justin Turner, I didn't necessarily coach him, but he played on one of my teams.
Okay.
All-American Baseball Academy teams.
Okay.
And he came to our training center. They trained at our training center when I had All-American Baseball Academy. And they were using all of these fundamentals. And he does the big leg kick. But what makes his leg kick work is the fact that he gets it down when he's still stretched. Okay? So when you're watching me teach, you're going to see that I'm teaching not just the wedge, but I'm teaching a thing called stretch. So I stretch the lat. On all of the drills that I do, we stretch the lat. Okay. So I'm pulling back. I want to feel tension here in my latissimus muscle. Okay. From this position on, what I'm doing is I'm taking my wedge and I'm now firing my wedge to the ball. So it's like pulling back on a bow and arrow. Boom. And we let the bow and arrow go. Now, where guys have an issue is if, as they hit foot plants, so in other words, that foot goes down to the ground, it gets down, and I'm still not at stretch, then I have a problem. So if I go to foot plant and I'm here, which happens all the time, I have a lot of kids sending in videos for me to analyze online. And one of the things, they'll start their foot plant and they're here. So they've lost their stretch, their back elbow has dropped down, their hands start going around the ball because this thing moved first, and have a sweepy swing. So what I recommend, and I've been coaching softball as well. I don't just coach the summer baseball program, I coach softball. Foot plant. In softball, I don't like a big leg lift. It's a very quick game. So what I try to do with the ladies is I try to keep their stance wider with a slight knee in. I take their knee, I turn their knee slightly in. That's their trigger. They go back with their wedge.
So which knee, coach? Just for clarification, because I know, after I put it on YouTube, which knee? Front knee or back knee?
Front knee.
Front knee, okay.
Front knee, they're pulling their front knee in. Now, the other thing about the back knee, their back knee will never drift over the back foot. So the back knee will stay inside the back foot. Okay. So I want to make sure that when I pull my knee back, I also keep my front knee bent in to my back foot. I don't know if you understand what that means.
No, absolutely.
Okay. So basically that creates, what it does, it creates torque. And if I have torque, I create more power from my hips as well. So my swing is not only starting from an efficient upper body, it also has to happen from an efficient lower body. So again, if you are going to be a leg lifter, then you need to make sure you get that foot down and stretch before you have to start your swing. And so the big leg lift creates timing issues. So I'm not a big fan of it. What I've done with a lot of my hitters is whether I'm a guy or a girl, I widen their stance up and I teach them that whole concept. There's a guy, he might be on here, I don't know if he is, Trey Harmon. This kid played last year at Westcliff University. He may be playing at another school this upcoming year, I don't know. But he batted like 440. He had 18 doubles. He had 5 home runs. But the significant thing is when he came to me, he started off at like 81, 82 mile an hour exit velocity. He's at 98, 99 mile an hour exit velocity every swing. And he's got a wide base. And you'll see him on my IG sometimes. Okay. He's a muscular guy. But man, the power that he creates from the stretch, you'll see he has a great stretch. He's wide, he uses his legs. It's pretty impressive. But he's not the only one. Same thing. I've tried to widen some guys out, and they wind up getting better lower half connection. Okay. The other thing in training a hitter that I look for, I don't like a batter when he swings straight up. At contact, I want what I call spine angle. Spine angle, all it means is bending over at the waist. Okay. And making sure that you're using your hip flexor. So you're bent over at the waist and you're popping your hip flexor through.
Through the baseball?
Correct.
Okay.
Through the baseball, through the swing. Okay. If I stand too tall, what's going to happen? I'm going to have a tendency to pull this shoulder that way towards the third base dugout for a righty. Okay. Lefty first base dugout. Yeah. And I'm going to pull off the ball and roll off the ball. So I want a good spine angle. And if you notice, a spine angle is going to give me more of this frisbee up swing as well. And you'll hear me when I talk in some of my videos, you'll hear me that I talk about a 10% tilt. 10% tilt means my head is 10% behind my belly button, because here's my belly button. My belly button's over at this angle there, okay? And I'm 10% back at contact.
Okay.
I try to make sure that I have a slight lean back and a slight lean over the plate.
Okay.
And you know, I was training a softball player the other day, who a friend of mine sent from his Firecracker softball club, and she came in, really sweet girl, but she was very straight up and down. Her hands were in here, okay,
tight.
Very tight in here. So I pulled her hands away from her body. I taught her the whole concept of a wedge. And I told her, I said, if you do this, I said, you're ultimately going to be able to drive gap to gap more. One of the things, gap to gap production is really key to this whole concept. If I'm doing this, I'm going to drive gap to gap more. This girl was kind of cool. I'm sitting there this weekend, this Sunday, and I'm sitting in my living room, and all of a sudden I get a text and a picture, a video, and she hits the ball off the fence. I kid you not. It was a triple. It was a shot. Okay. And I'm like, oh my God. So, and when I told her, I said, you're going to wind up getting extra base hits. And I asked her, I said, do you hit a lot of extra base hits? No. She was like, no, I don't. I hit a lot of grounders. I'm like, you're going to hit extra base hits. So I'm still sitting about an hour later, I get another text from her dad. Her name's Isabella. And her dad says, I was at the bathroom. Oh my God, with my other son. She hit one out. She hit the home. Okay. So I'm like, oh my God. So sometimes as a coach, we sit there and like, wow, this stuff really does work.
It really does work, yes.
Holy cow.
Yes, I understand the feeling. So now, Coach, I hear you said that you work with softball and currently work with softball players, and you know that instant success for Isabel, was it?
Isabel, yep.
Isabel, okay. Shout out to Isabel. Keep hitting that ball, girl. So last week I had Coach Nakia Hall, the head softball coach for Grambling State, and you know I asked her the question, which is harder to hit, fast pitch softball or traditional baseball? And she said fast pitch softball. So with you working with both baseball at the elite level and softball at the elite level, which is harder to hit, a baseball or softball?
Softball's harder to hit.
Oh, okay.
Softball's harder to hit. And you have to, again, remember, in baseball, I can give you can have a leg lift. You have more time.
Yeah.
In softball, there is no time. Okay, there is no time. You know, you better be quick. You can't be dropping your bat. If your bat, see, a lot of girls will drop their bat here because somebody told them that this is going to get you quicker to the ball. It's not. What's going to happen is your bat's going to wind up sweeping around and being late to the ball. And a lot of the girls are here instead of here. So what I teach is I'll teach my softball girls, I actually teach them tip, where I take them slightly tipped this way, so the bat's slightly going to the pitcher, and the knob goes to the catcher's toes. So knob to the catcher's toes, redirect the knob. So it's quick. I'm in the strike zone right now. If I better not break that picture back there. If I have my bat flat, I'm going to wind up wrapping it around my neck, which is what a lot of softball players wind up doing that I see. And then they wind up letting it unfold, and it goes way out there before it gets into the strike zone here. So I'm more about being very compact here, short, and this is the movement that I create. And I do teach. See, I've been coaching at Compton College softball, okay, and there's not a lot of softball going on in Compton. So there's a lot of girls that are raw and haven't played softball. And 2 years ago, we led the state in hits. We had 452 hits 2 years ago, okay? And the year before that, same type of results. This year, our season got cut off. Now, we don't necessarily win a lot of games in Compton because we haven't teaching fielding is a lot harder than teaching hitting.
Okay.
And because you got to get over the fear of getting in front of a ball.
Yep.
Not to mention, in softball, if you don't have pitching, you're not winning. If you don't have pitching, you don't have somebody to throw a ball, it's going to be a very high-scoring game. And the one thing when I do coach, I get a lot of other coaches say, "Wow, it's amazing how your girls hit, especially by the second time round, because they haven't played in big competition."
Right.
However, we're trying to build a program over there, and it's happening slowly, and but it'll happen eventually. With the guys I coached in the California for the California Cage Rats, that's the Sunset Collegiate League, big prestigious league. These guys are going to major colleges, and they still come in with bad habits. They get on with their hands, same thing. They drop their hands. So no matter who you're working with, because I know you had asked, do you handle a younger kid different than a kid? No, I handled them pretty the same. I just maybe speak in different languages. One of the things that when I work with kids, I'm very to the point, pretty blunt, in a good way, and I try to encourage. And I truly believe that coaches that are out there, don't tear your kids down, pick them up, make sure you're lifting them up, whether you're coaching in Compton, whether you're coaching a prestigious summer league baseball team. Coaching is such a great gift to be able to do. And unfortunately, it doesn't necessarily pay the great wages.
Oh, you don't make no money in this, brother. Ain't no money, man.
No. And you do it because you love the sport. You love teaching. You love trying to help kids. You try to teach them values.
Yep.
Because, what values do you get from playing softball or playing baseball? Work ethic.
Yep.
Work ethic. You have to look in the mirror and say, did I do my work? Did I do my 100 swings a day? Did I show up to practice on time? It teaches you so many amazing things. And, that's one of the reasons why I love to coach. As far as the hitting program goes, I don't think hitting is as hard as some people make it out to be. I've taken kids that are not athletic in private training, and they become beasts. They become kids that crush the ball. So I was looking like, so how does that happen? It's form. It's the ability to break things down. Now, I may share all of these drills. Somebody may take these drills and really not be able to fix them, but they do work. Okay, so you got to be able to look at somebody. Then you got to be able to communicate that whatever you're teaching to them, and then you have to prove it out. Like the girl going out the next day, and I changed her swing totally. I widened her up. I taught her the wedge. I told her, don't swing down anymore, swing up. Took her hands away from her head, tip and turn. And she just obliterated the ball, And the cool thing is, I get a call from a couple of her teammates' parents wanting to do lessons. I'm like, yeah, but we'll get you in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hold on, Coach. I got to take this comment. E.E. Horn 6, what's happening? This interview is so informative, and the convo is worth its weight in gold. Thank you both so much. Oh, no problem. This is why the recess is here. It's organic and raw baseball information that you can get for free. As they say, free 99. These are the things we want to see the game progressing in the right way. We want to see, and no matter if you're in, I'm in Chicago, he's in California. It does not matter. It's about the best baseball product that we can put out time and time again. If we can put out 100 studs, guess what that means? There's going to be 500 studs that get made after those 100 studs perform. And that's what we have to do to keep this thing going. A lot of times with other sports, and I see this, basketball and football, it's secretive, right? They, don't share this play, don't share this. And oftentimes with baseball, it's so many great coaches like Coach Joe, all the college coaches, they all have Instagram Live. Everybody does. Baseball, we make it public because the game of baseball, we needed to keep progressing in a great way. So, yes, anytime that anybody wants to ask Coach Joe Magno about hitting, he'll be more than he'd be more than willing to share it. You know, you got to give him out a good time and everything. He has 1,000 clients, but this is what we're here for. This is baseball. Baseball is America's pastime, and this is what we're here. This is what the recess is for: raw and organic. So, Coach,
I just saw Cole Rawlings just joined.
Cole Rawlings, we just made the shout out. What's happening, Cole?
I'm working with Cole's brother. He came,
okay.
And this isn't what great kid. But by the way, both of them great people.
Okay.
And Cole's brother Kyle came to me, and he'll attest to it. He's coming in there, 72-mile-an-hour exit velocity, every ball coming off the bat. He's in the 90s now. It's amazing. He's smashing the ball. This kid, he has great work ethic. Cole's brother, Cole has great work ethic too. Cole's a pitcher, but his brother Kyle, I just love the kid. You know, works his tail off. You know, puts his 200 swings a day in. Coach sends me videos. How's this look? You know, you need to do this. You need to do that. You're getting better. You're doing great. You know, but he's open to advice, and he's open to suggestions. And I think one of the keys to becoming a good baseball player is you've got to be able to be open. You can't have such a big ego that you're not open to ideas, you know, and change. Very important to be open to ideas and change. And, you know, another thing that we do as we train, we do a lot of mental training.
Okay.
Visualization, breathing. How do you relax your body when you get into a game? It's really important. You know, you could have the greatest form in the world in practice, but then you get into a game and you're stressed out. If you're stressed out, you're not going to perform. Your muscles tighten up. You don't react the way you're supposed to react because you're too tight, you're too tense, your blood pressure's too high. So, you know, you've got to be able to control your mind. And I'm a big believer in mental training and visualization and relaxation techniques. Ken Ravizza stuff, if you know who Ken is. He wrote a book called Heads Up Baseball. He recently, maybe about a year ago, he was a great mental trainer. I had the pleasure and the opportunity to listen in on a lot of his actual live clinics when I was running showcase camps at Long Beach State. And you know, he would come out every now and then, and I just kind of was listening and watching. And you know, there's some interesting things that really will help you become a much better player if you can relax your body. So we have fundamental trainings for your body. We work on lightning, fast twitch. We work on heavy at bat, slow twitch. We work on form with the wedge. But many of us forget about the mind. And the mind is extremely important in playing the game of baseball. And
so, Coach, let me ask you this, because I know you talked about the mental and the mind and visualization and everything like that. How can coaches, and this is what, you know, I struggle with at times as a coach, and I know many coaches, when you have that kid who has all the tools in the world, I mean, he got the size, he got the wedge, he can get to the ball, 90 miles per hour, exit velo, but his confidence stinks. How do you coach hitting confidence?
And that's a tough one. That's a tough one. And that's where you first of all, a guy like that will not do well with a coach that's critical. A coach that's critical, a coach that stands in the corner and mumbles under his breath and looks at the kid and rolls his eyes, that kid's going to fail under a coach that has that kind of style. And there's coaches with all kinds of style. There's also coaches that will put their arm around him and will keep encouraging. But with that said, you also then need to try to teach a relaxation program. So either you do it one-on-one or you do it with a whole team. And unfortunately, there's a lot of guys that will buy into it. Well, that's fortunate when they do buy in. But there's guys that think that that's a waste of time. And I was actually, I'm not going to say what coaching staff, but I was part of a coaching staff where we did mental training every day. And we wound up going to the state championships. And we wound up losing in the finals to Cal State, Cal Poly Pomona. And, but man, we had 89 home runs that year. We had 120 doubles. I mean, the numbers just went off the roof. And a lot of it was because of the mental training that we did. Before every game, we'd lie down in the grass and we'd breathe and we'd, do this whole relaxation program. It looks really weird.
Right. I know the other team gave you guys some slack.
Oh, yeah. Well, the other team looking like, what are they doing?
Right.
There were also other coaches that were in my program that were looking at me and saying, what is he doing? But I'm going to tell you, it works. And, that teaching those type of principles, whether you're doing it before a game, I think an individual player needs to be trying to do that before a game. And if you're a player that might be a little bit amped, nervous, then you've got to learn how to do that. You have to teach yourself. It's an acquired skill for many people. So some people are natural. Some people, whatever, they don't care. Okay. And it's like, wow, look at that. He's just relaxed all the time, and some people, they get uptight. Some people see a coach roll his eyes over in the corner of the dugout and it kills them. It ruins them. And, so as a coach, I believe coaches need to be very careful with their body language. I've learned too, myself. I've had that kind of body language in the past. I have, but as you grow as a coach and as you get older, you start seeing, well, maybe the way to do this is to, do it with a little more love in your approach and a little more kindness in the way you teach. And, I think that there's so much potential out there with all of these kids and I really believe that if you really want to do something, you can put your mind to it. Whether it's playing baseball, playing softball, getting your education, getting a job, I think having an attitude where you think you can't do something, it's bad. You have to kind of, I had a professor in college. I'm not going to say exactly what he said. He played for the Atlanta Falcons. He was a defensive tackle. His name was Al Jordan. And I can't tell you the whole story. I will on a private call. But
okay.
He said there's going to be times in life that you're going to get knocked down on your butt. Okay. And you're just going to need to man up and pick yourself up by the bootstraps and start over again and do it and do it and do it until you have it right. Now, he didn't say it like that. He said it with lots of passion. I love the way he said it, but I will not do it here. Okay. And I love the guy, and I've always tried to remember that because life is, man, it's up, it's down, it's up, it's down. And
it can go left and right too, quick.
It does. It's amazing, So, you try to stay positive, try to surround yourself with good people. Me, I married an amazing wife, Lisa. She's amazing. Without her, I couldn't do anything. I have an amazing son, Mo, who was a baseball player, got hurt, head injury, can't play ball anymore. He's a catcher. He was very good, talented. Played college ball a little bit. And, things knock you off your track. And you maybe have to get back on track, but it may be on another track sometimes. And that's okay. So it's all interesting. Baseball's life. They always say, oh, that's so cliche. Baseball's life.
Baseball's life.
You're going to strike out and you're going to have to get back up again. And are you going to go up there? Oh my God, I struck out. No, you're going to get up there. You're going to attack. See the ball, identify the ball, destroy the ball. That's the attitude that you have to have.
And not to cut you off, Coach, but I know a lot of people who have not played baseball or thinking about signing their kids up. Baseball has so much preparation, so much failure, and there's so much adversity. It would drive you up a wall. And I'm glad Coach, Joe spoke on the body language. I'm glad Coach Joe spoke on actually positive reinforcement. And I'm not perfect as a coach. It's sometimes to where, you're like, You letting this guy throw the ball past you, really? You know, and your competitiveness comes out, and you know, it might come out the
perfect by no means.
Absolutely, no, absolutely. But I really believe that baseball is such a complex game to play, and then even more complex to coach, because you said some things on here I've never heard. I'm like, okay, I'm taking my little notes on my computer to bring it back to make my players better, and vice versa. Like if we're talking to somebody out in, let's say, Virginia, they might teach us something. So it's an ongoing game of knowledge, and I think that's what life is. Every day, you know, your parents used to tell you, or your uncle, you learn something new every day. It's the same way with baseball.
Yep.
It's the exact same way.
Yep, it is. It is. So, you know, this is awesome. You know, so we've got to keep doing this. We have to do something.
Absolutely. This not the first time. We're going to try to get every other month, or
I need to come to Chicago.
Come on.
I know they have the best Italian food there besides New York.
And we got the best food, period. Chicago. Best ball clubs too. Yeah. So Coach Joe, I know IG's about to kick us off. So can you provide an email and or website or anything that, you know, once this goes on YouTube, if somebody sees it, they want to get in contact with you, a coach, a mom, a dad, or a player?
Yep. It's Coach Joe Magno on Instagram. Okay. And then you can go to our California Cage Rat website, californiacagerats.com. And then there's another, my email address is Mr. Baseball, spelled out, M-I-S-T-R, Mr. Baseball, spelled out, at californiacagerats.com. And I also have MrBaseball.com. And that site's being worked on. It's got some issues. So
that's not how you're going to get it together, man. Coach Joe, thank you so much for joining me on the recess. Now to the viewers, awesome. Tomorrow I have Coach Randy Hogan. He's from the Milwaukee Brewers Reviving Baseball Inner City program. Make sure you guys tune in. Joseph F. says, great job, Coach. Thanks for all your help. Absolutely. That's why I got this guy on here. So once again, this is Coach E. I had Coach Joe Magno on the show. Man, thank you guys for viewing. Tomorrow, we got Milwaukee Brewers RBI, Coach Hogan. Coach Joe, I know you got a hitting lesson coming up.
Yeah, man.
California, y'all keep producing them animals. All right, thanks, Coach Joe.
Thanks, man.
All right.
You have a good one.
You too.
And here's another hit, baby. Bonds. We out of here, baby.